everyone, this is Ashwini, Assistant Professor of Computer Science at A.D.M.COLLEGE for Women at NAGAPATTINam. My topic is Mobile Application Development. First, see a content, Introduction, Java for Mobile Application Development, XML for Android App Development, OS for Mobile Application Development, and Symbian, Android and iOS, finally conclusion. First, see about Introduction. Today, mobile devices and the mobile applications that unlock their values are the most popular way for people and businesses to connect to the internet. To stay relevant, responsive, and successful, organizations need to develop the mobile applications that their customers, partners, and employees demand. Mobile app development is rapidly growing from retail, telecommunications, and e-commerces to insurance, healthcare, and governments. Organizations across industries must meet user expectations for real-time, convenient ways to conduct transactions and access information. Mobile application development is the process of making software for smartphones, tablets, and digital assistants, most commonly for the Android and iOS operating system. The next topic, Java for Mobile Application Development. Java is one of the powerful general-purpose programming language created in 1995 by Sun Microsystems. Now owned by Oracle, Java is object-oriented. However, it's not considered as pure object-oriented as it provides support for primitive data types like integer, character, etc. Java syntax is similar to C, C++, but Java does not provide low-level programming functionalities. Like pointers, also, Java code is always written in the form of the classes and objects and are heavily relies on the Java programming languages. All the SDK, that is software development kits, are going to build for Android applications. Uses the standard libraries of Java. If you are coming from traditional programming backgrounds like C, C++, Java, it's easy to learn. So in this discussion, there is a complete guide to learning Java, especially considering Android app development. To enhance your skills and dive deep into Java programming, consider exploring comprehensive Java course that covers everything from Java fundamentals to advanced application development. The next, Java for Android app development. The first established ecosystem. Java has been primary languages for Android development since the platform inception, resulting in a vast ecosystem of libraries, frameworks, and tools specifically tailored for Android. Wide adoption and support. Java is one of the most widely used programming language globally and showing a large community of developers. Extensive documentation and abundant resources for learning and troubleshooting. The next, mature tooling. Android Studio, the official IDE for Android development, provides a robust support for Java. It includes advanced features like code compilation, debugging tools, and integrations with Android SDK. The next, performance. Java runtime performance is well understood and optimized for Android devices. It offers predictable performance characteristics, making it suitable for developing high-performance applications. The next, backward compatibility. Java is backward compatibility ensures that older Android devices can run apps developed with the newer versions of the languages, reducing fragmentation issues. The next, enterprises support. Many large enterprises and organizations have extensive Java code bases and expertise, making Java a natural choice for maintaining and extending existing Android applications. The next, integration with native code. Java allows seamless integration with a C, C++ code through the Java native interfaces, that is JNI, enabling developers to leverage existing native libraries for performance critical tasks. The next topic is basics of Java. How to start learning Java, understand the core introduction of the Java programming language. The first, setting up environment, that is a setup IDE for writing programming in Java. The next, for example, Java class file, the first basic entry point of Java programming, which is right in the main class. The next, Java identifier. In Java, an identifier can be class name, method name, variable name, either label. The next, data types in Java. You know what types of data types are supported by the Java programming language. The next, variables in Java. A variable is a name given into memory location. That is, it is the basic unit of storage in a program. The next, scope of variables. The scope of variables is the program of that is a variable is accessible. Decision making statements in Java, that is if, else, switch, break, continue and jump. A programming language uses control statement to control the flow of the execution of your program based on certain conditions. The next, switch statement in Java. The switch statement is a multi-way branch statement. It provides an easy way to dispatch execution to different parts of code based on the value of expression. The next, loops in Java. Looping in programming languages is a feature that facilitates execution, that is set of instructions, functions repeatedly while some conditions are evaluated to be true. The next, for each loop in Java. For each is another array traversing technique like for loop, while loop, do, while loop is introduced in the Java. The next, type conversion in Java. Type conversion will be the example. If the data types are for the compatible, then the Java will perform the conversion automatically, known as automatic type conversion. The next, commands in Java. Commands take part in the making the program become more human readable. By placing the details of code involved and proper uses of commands makes maintenance easier and finding bugs easier. The next, operators in Java. Operators in Java provide many types of operator which can be used according to the need. They are classified based on the functionalities they provide. The next, strings in Java. Set of a string sequence of characters in Java, objects of strings are immutable, which means constant and could be changed once created. The next, string buffer. String buffer classes in Java is a peer classes of strings that provide much of the functionalities of strings. The next, string builder classes in Java, that is represent a mutable sequence of characters. The next, classes and objects in Java. The basic object-oriented programming components, classes and objects in Java programming languages. Different ways to create objects in Java. Get to know the various ways to create objects in Java. The next, inheritance in Java. It is a mechanism in Java by which one class is allowed to inherit features of another classes. The next, encapsulation in Java. Encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up to data under a single unit. The next, abstraction in Java. Data abstraction is a property by which only the essential details are displayed to the user. The next, access modifier in Java. As the name suggests, access modifier in Java helps to restrict the scope of the class, constructors, variables, methods, either data members. The next, overloading in Java. Overloading allows different methods to have same name but different signatures of methods. The next, overriding in Java. Overriding is a feature that allows subclasses, areas, subchild, that is the classes to provide specific implementations of a method that is already provided by one of the superclasses and our parent classes. The next, static classes in Java. Some classes can be made in static in Java. Java supports static instance variables, static methods, static blocks, and finally static classes. The next topic, XML for Android app development. We are already known what the full form of XML. That is Extensible Markup Language. XML is a markup language much like HTML used. That is a hypertext markup language. That is to describe its data. It is derived from the standard generalized markup language that is the SGML. Basically, to XML tags are not predefined in XML. We need to implement, that is define the tags in XML. XML tags define the data and use it to store and organize data. It's easily scalable and simple to develop. UI related data, that is user interface related data, is a lightweight markup language that does not make a layout heavy. XML only contains tags which implementing they need to be just invoked. The next simple syntax of XML, that is one tagline, tag name, the center is a hello world, that is the closing attributes like slash tag name. The next basics of user interface. Basically in Android, XML is used to implement the user interface related data. So understanding the core part of the UI interface with respect to XML is important. The user interface for an Android app is built as a hierarchy of main layouts, with which the layouts of view groups objects are containers that the control of the how the child view should be portioned on the screen. The next, such as buttons and text boxes, considering the following simple example, we first see Android manifest.xml file in Android. The Android manifest.xml file contains information of your packages, that is including components of the application such as the activity, services, broadcast receivers, and finally content providers. It performs some other tasks also. It is responsible to protect the application to access any protected program. There is a processing by the permission. It also declares the Android API, the full form application programmer interface that the application is going to use. It lists the instrumentation classes. The instrumentation classes provide the fulfilling and other information. These informations are removed just before the application is published. The next topic, mobile operating system. Mobile operating system, that is mobile OS, manages mobile gadgets like phones or tablets. This system runs apps. They are not like desktop, as mobile have different needs. An operating system for mobile devices manages the basic function. It runs apps, control memory, and connect to networks. The systems provide an easy-to-use interface. They are designed for smartphones, tablets, and wearable things, and mobile OSs let you multitask, browse the web, and download apps. Popular applications include iOS from Apple, Android from Google, and Harmony OS. Mobile operating systems for modern gadgets, with them phones become portable computer, communication tools, and entertainment hubs. The next key features of mobile operating system. The first, user interface. The first, touch the inputs of graphical user interface provided by mobile OSs are optimized. This is why users can touch the gestures, in other words as swiping, tapping, and pinching to interact with the gadget. The next, multitasking. It has this running of many apps at the same time, but what is more, we can quickly switch between them without any hindrance. Such as offloading is for applications that are not currently used actively. The next, connectivity. It provides variety of connections such as cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, near-free communication, and others to facilitate the communication of the devices with the other devices and networks. The next, application management, is a platform that has its own places or storage which the users utilize to browse, install, run, and update this application exclusively for the platform only. The next, resource management, efficiently allocates hardware resources like the CPU, RAM, battery by achieving a balance between performance and battery life. The next type of mobile operating system. The mobile that has seen many operating systems. Some are big and powerful, others are small and messy. Have the main types of mobile OSs. The first, Android, made by Google. Android is the most used mobile OS worldwide. The one of the open source system built on Linux code. Android is made mostly for touch screen phones and tablets. Being open allows companies to customize Android for this gadget. They launched many different Android devices. The next, Apple created iOS, the operating system for iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch. Its smooth interface and tight Apple ecosystem integrations are hallmarks. Apple ecosystem integrations are hallmarks. However, Apple's total control over hardware and software limit customization options, unlike Android open platform. The next, high developed Harmony OS, Harmony OS in China. Across devices like smartphones, wearables, laptops, smart home gadgets, by offering a unified ecosystem aims to navigate US government restriction on its business. The next KaiOS is a basic mobile OS. It's power basic phones without a touch screen. KaiOS is based on discontinued Firefox OS. That's a support 4G GPS and apps like Facebook and WhatsApp. The next Tizen is a Linux-based mobile OS developed by Samsung. It was created with Intel and the Tizen Association. Tizen powers various Samsung products. The next, smartphones have different operating systems. The Android and iOS are big cars, but other exist for different users. Operating system cater to device needs. They have pros, cons, and target markets. The next, future trends of mobile operating system. The futures of mobile operating system is changing. New technology, consumer shifts, and global challenges impact them. Here are some key trends and innovation. The first, augmented reality and virtual reality. That is AR and VR apps. They will enable immersive experience and enhance visualization. Mobile security will become more crucial. Biometrics authentication may increase privacy protection. Battery life optimization could improve through AI technology. We are already known artificial intelligence technology. The next, cross-platform and ecosystem integration. Devices work together better these days. Apple and Google want the phones, tablets, watches, and smart home stuff to feel like one big happy family. Harmony OS tries this to single OS for various nodes, making them work as united pairs. The next, increased security. Privacy and security are major priorities now. Mobile operating system bulk up defenses against hackers and snooping companies. Expect tougher and data encryption stickers app permission and features blocking unwanted tracking of your personal info. They are safeguarding for digital life. The next, AI and machine learning. This type of already known artificial intelligence and machine learning will become more virtual parts of mobile OS. They will aid customized experience, predictive text and actions, better photography tools, and smaller visual helpers. The next, 5G networks are rolling out globally. Mobile OSs are evolving for enhanced connection ability, that is expert for the internal handling data-heavy tasks, supporting AR, VR apps, and improved IoT devices linking. The next, making tech accessible is crucial. Future mobile OS updates may include advanced accessibility features. The next, mobile operating system, Symbian Android iOS. It's a dropped mobile operating system and digital platform development for smartphones. It was initially developed for closed source operating system for personal digital assistant in 1988 by Symbian Limited. It was used for many popular brands named as Samsung, Sony, Exxon, Nokia, and etc. The OS of Symbian contains two: the first component, microkernel and user interface. The Symbian OS was written in C++. Various versions of Symbian OS are first see FOC 3.2, Symbian OS 6.0 and 6.1, 6.2, 7.0, 8.0, 9.1 and 9.3. Finally, 9 versions are available in Symbian. Evaluations of Symbian. Symbian was become for FOC32. It was developed by Xian in the 1990s. In 1988, Xian Software tapped into Symbian Limited and established a partnership with Nokia, Sony Ericsson and Motorola. After the Symbian OS goes under several different software platforms was created by Symbian with the help of these big companies. They incorporate S60 for Nokia, LG and Samsung. The next UIQ and MOAP, that is a Japan's only. Symbian covers 67% of global market of smartphones in 2006. Nokia was biggest shareholders for increasing the popularity of Symbian. In 2012, Nokia launched the last Symbian smartphone named as Nokia 808 PureView. In 2014, Nokia breaks at all ties with the Symbian. The next features of Symbian OS. Symbian OS contains browsers, messaging, multimedia, communication protocols, mobile telephone, data synchronization, security, application environment, multitasking, robustness, flexible. The next advantages of Symbian OS. Symbian OS provides open platform to enable independent technology and software vendors to develop third-party apps. Symbian allowed impressive battery life. Symbian required lower hardware requirements. The next disadvantages of Symbian OS. Major drawback of Symbian OS is to provide late responses as compared to iOS and Android. The touch of Symbian uses devices are not as smooth as compared to iOS and Android devices. The next topic, Android. Android is a mobile operating system which is successfully developed by Google. The Android OS is based on Linux operating system, an open source operating system which is specifically developed for touch-screen mobile devices like tablets, smartphones, Android TV, OS, etc. Android OS is written in Java and it brought a drastic changes in the mobile technology. The next evaluation of Android. Originally, Android is developed by Android Inc. and in 2007, Google brought Android. The concept of Android was described by Andy Rubin, Richard Miner, Nick Sears and Chris Lloyd in 2003. In September 2008, Android undergoes several major changes. The current members of the Android family is 9.0 version. The core source of Android is known as licensed under Apache licenses. Apache licenses are also free software and open source license. HTC Gene was the first commercially available smartphone with Android as an operating system of the smartphone. On September 23, 2008, Google officially released the first versions of Android, that is Android 1.0. After successfully released Android first version goes through several updates of Android continues the improvements in the operating system, adding new features, fixing bugs in the previous releases. The next see about various versions of Android. The first 1.0 version, 1.1, 1.5, 1.6, 2.0 version. Finally, we are seeing last version is 9.0. That is the name of year 2018. The next features of Android. Basic features of hardware is divided into two parts. Hardware-based features. The first is the home screens, microphones, NFC and sensor. The next software features. Layout, storage, input method, live wallpapers, messaging, multi-language support, browsers, Java support, media support, multi-touch calls, multitasking, graphics, etc. The next advantages of Android. Android can build by anyone because it is based on Linux open source. Android phones are multitasking. You can perform multiple tasks at the same time. For example, while listening music, you can chat with your friend. The next Android provides app market known as Play Store. From the Play Store, you can download and install different types of apps in your mobile phone. Android provides notification facilities. Whenever new messages come and email arrive on the phone, it automatically shows on the home screen on the phone. The next disadvantages of Android. Most of the apps and features of Android require an active internet connection. Without the active internet connection, you can't access them. In Android OS, the wastage of battery is more due to background processing. Many of the Android applications contain viruses. For example, Counter-Strike Ground poses was supposed to have viruses. The next, iOS, iPhone OS in mobile operating system, which is successfully designed and developed by Apple Inc. iOS is the largest used mobile operating system after Android. It's basically designed for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. In terms of security, iOS is more secure than Android. iOS interface depends upon the direct manipulation by using touch gestures. The next evolution of iOS. The concept of iOS was innovated by Steve Jobs in 2005. For iPhone, the iOS is created by the Scott Forstall, and Forstall also developed software development kit, that is SDK, for programmers to create iPhone applications, as well as app stores within iTunes. The first official iPhone with the iPhone OS was released in 2007. After the success of the iPhone in 2008, Apple announced the iPhone SDK for developers to develop applications for iPhone. And app stores with 500 applications in 2010, Apple renamed the iPhone OS and iOS. The latest versions of iOS is first see iPhone S5, iPad Pro, iPad Mini 2, and 6th generation iPod Touch. Finally, we see about conclusion. Java, XML, Android OS is fundamental for Android app development, providing reliability, versatility, and a robust support networks. It ensures consistent performance across devices, empowering developers to innovate efficiently in creating impactful applications. Thank you.